Ever felt like your world's been turned upside down? Well, in one small village in Poland, that feeling is literal. As you walk toward this bizarre building, your eyes might trick you. The roof is on the ground, the windows are on the ceiling, and the front door? You enter through the attic. This isn't a fantasy, it's someone's real home. And the story behind it is even stranger than its shape. Hidden in the village of Simbark, the upside-down house was created not just as an architectural oddity, but as a powerful symbol. Built by Daniel Chapiewski, a philanthropist and businessman, this house reflects the turbulent political and social times in Poland's history. The disorienting design isn't just for shock, it's meant to make visitors feel the confusion and instability of the communist era. Step inside and gravity immediately feels wrong. Chairs hang above you, tables appear ready to crash down, and walking across the ceiling floors feels like stepping into a dream. Everything is placed upside down, yet carefully balanced. It's not just visually baffling, it challenges your sense of direction, your balance, and your perception of normal. But here's the kicker. It took longer to build than expected. Not because the construction was difficult, but because the workers kept getting dizzy. Even the builders had a hard time navigating this twisted reality. And while tourists now flock here for fun and photos, the home serves as a reminder that architecture can be a form of protest, a way of storytelling, and even a mirror to society's chaos. And yes, someone has actually lived here, at least temporarily. But could you sleep in a bed hanging above the floor, or eat at a table on the ceiling? For some, it's a wild adventure. For others, it's a nightmare. Either way, it's unforgettable. Imagine waking up inside your favorite cartoon. Now imagine it's real. Nestled in the hills of Hillsborough, California, sits a home that looks like it was plucked right out of bedrock, the prehistoric town from the Flintstones. Round windows, bulbous walls, and dino-colored sculptures greet anyone who passes by. But this is no Hollywood set, it's someone's private residence, and it's sparked as much controversy as it has curiosity. This peculiar creation was originally built in 1976, using a unique technique called monolithic dome construction, which allows for organic shapes and energy efficiency. At first, it was painted in more neutral tones, but when new owner Florence Fang bought it in 2017, she brought it to life, literally. She painted it bright orange and purple, added 15-foot dinosaur statues, giant mushrooms, and even Flintstones figurines. To some, it's an eccentric masterpiece. To others, it's an eyesore. The local government actually tried to take her to court, claiming the additions violated town rules. But Fang fought back, arguing it was her right to express creativity on her own property. In 2021, she won the case. The Flintstone house was declared a legal and now iconic expression of personal freedom. What's it like inside? Just as whimsical. The walls are curved, the furniture is custom-made to match the rocky aesthetic, and everything feels like you've time-traveled to an alternate prehistoric reality. And believe it or not, Fang actually hosts events here, proudly showcasing her colorful vision. But behind the fun and fantasy lies a powerful message. Even in a world of zoning laws and regulations, imagination can find a way. In the end, the Flintstone house isn't just strange, it's a statement. At first glance, it looks like a boulder rolled down a hill and cracked in half. But take a closer look, and you'll see something extraordinary. Nestled in the Faith Mountains of northern Portugal, the Casa do Penedo, translated as House of the Rock, is one of the world's most jaw-dropping homes. Built between four massive stones, it seems almost prehistoric, but it's not ancient. It was built in 1974. Constructed by a local engineer as a rural retreat, this stone home blends perfectly with the rugged landscape. Using natural rock formations as part of the structure, it has thick stone walls, tiny windows, and a slanted tiled roof that makes it look like it grew out of the earth itself. There's no electricity, No internet, no modern distractions. Just you, the wind, and the rock. Inside, it's surprisingly cozy. Wooden furniture, a fireplace, and even a stone staircase give it a medieval charm. It's like living in a fairy tale or stepping into a real-life hobbit hole. But this house isn't just a visual marvel. It represents a deep return to nature. In a world rushing toward technology, this home offers simplicity, silence, and solitude. At one point, it became so popular with tourists that the owner had to reinforce the doors and windows, turning his peaceful getaway into a kind of fortress. Still, the stone house stands strong. It's weathered decades of storms and attention, always quietly perched between the boulders. It's a reminder that the most incredible homes aren't always flashy. They're the ones that become one with the land. Beneath the surface of Tunisia's desert lies an entire world hidden in the earth. At first glance, there's nothing but sand and dust. But if you follow the footsteps of the Berber people, you'll stumble upon one of the most astonishing human settlements on Earth, homes carved into the ground, where families have lived for centuries. In Matmata, the traditional houses are dug vertically into the earth, creating crater-like courtyards surrounded by caves used as rooms. This design isn't just visually stunning, it's functional. Temperatures in the desert soar during the day and drop at night. But inside these troglodyte homes, the temperature stays surprisingly comfortable year-round. The rooms are cool, quiet, and dark. Sunlight trickles in from above, casting soft shadows on ancient walls. Life happens underground, but make no mistake, these homes are full of color, character, and culture. Most famously, these cave dwellings became known around the world when George Lucas used one as Luke Skywalker's home in Star Wars. But long before Hollywood arrived, these homes were a symbol of survival, resilience, and adaptation. And even today, some locals still choose to live in them, preserving the tradition against time and change. For travelers, it's like stepping into another world, one that challenges everything you know about how people live. A home doesn't need 4 walls and a roof. Sometimes, the earth itself becomes your shelter, your heritage, and your sanctuary. What if I told you there's a house made entirely from garbage, and it's absolutely beautiful? No, this isn't a post-apocalyptic fantasy or an eco-art exhibit. It's a real, functioning home where someone actually lives. Tucked away in the deserts of New Mexico is one of the strangest, smartest, and most sustainable homes on the planet, a place known as an Earthship. And it's redefining what home means in a world that's rapidly changing. From the outside, it looks like something built by aliens. Curved walls made of tires, bottles embedded in the structure like stained glass, and rooftop gardens blooming under the desert sun. But every inch of this home has a purpose, and every material has a story. The mastermind behind Earthships is architect Michael Reynolds. In the 1970s, he was fed up with conventional architecture that ignored the environment. So he built a house using beer cans. People laughed. But then he did it again, this time with tires, plastic bottles, and mud. Eventually, he created a whole philosophy. Homes that are off-grid, self-sustaining, and made from recycled materials. Inside an Earthship, nothing goes to waste. Rainwater is collected and filtered. Solar panels generate electricity. The walls, packed with earth-filled tires, keep the home cool in summer and warm in winter without any heating or air conditioning. Wastewater is filtered through indoor gardens that grow food. Everything is connected. Everything works in harmony. It's not just a house, it's a living system. One of the most famous Earthships is in Taos, New Mexico. And yes, people live there full-time. In fact, there's an entire community of Earthships, each one unique, each one custom-built, and all functioning completely off the grid. No utility bills, no sewage hookups, just self-sufficiency in the middle of nowhere. Stepping inside feels like entering a sci-fi utopia. Sunlight pours through bottle walls, casting colorful patterns across handmade floors. The air is fresh, the plants are thriving, and the silence is deafening. It's peaceful, purposeful, and perfectly strange. But make no mistake, this isn't about living in a cave or roughing it. These homes can be stunningly beautiful, with custom kitchens, artistic tile work, and even Wi-Fi. It's a luxury lifestyle built on trash, and that's what makes it revolutionary. Earthships have since spread across the globe, from France to South Africa to India. People everywhere are realizing that you don't need traditional materials or giant budgets to build a dream home. All you need is creativity, commitment, and the courage to challenge what's normal. And that's what makes Earthships so powerful. They aren't just homes, they're proof that sustainability can be stylish, comfort can coexist with conservation, and beauty can rise from the things we throw away. In a world drowning in waste, one man's trash truly is another man's treasure. And in this case, it's also his home. High above the ground, swaying gently in the breeze, sits a home that defies logic and gravity. No stairs, no sidewalks, just rope bridges and tree trunks. This isn't a childhood fantasy or a hidden jungle hut. It's a real, fully functional treehouse village where people actually live. Welcome to the world of Finca Bella Vista in Costa Rica, one of the most mind-blowing residential concepts ever created. It all began with a single idea. What if we lived with the trees, not just under them? Hidden deep within the lush rainforest near the Pacific coast, Finca Bella Vista is not just one home. It's an entire sustainable treehouse community spread over 600 acres of jungle. Each home is perched high in the canopy, connected by aerial walkways, zip lines, and hiking trails. Imagine waking up to the sound of monkeys, sipping coffee with toucans, and watching the sunrise through a sea of green, all from your bedroom in the treetops. These aren't your average backyard treehouses. They're architectural masterpieces. Some have solar power, rainwater catchment systems, and composting toilets. Others are equipped with Wi-Fi, full kitchens, and wraparound balconies with panoramic jungle views. Built with local, sustainable materials and designed to blend into nature, these homes are a testament to what's possible when we live in harmony with our environment. But living in the trees isn't just romantic. It's also a challenge. There are no roads inside the village you hike to your front door. Supplies are brought in manually or by pulley systems. Wildlife is everywhere. You're living side by side with nature, not just observing it, but coexisting with it. And yet, people from all over the world have moved here, seeking a slower, more meaningful life. Some stay for weeks, others never leave. Writers, artists, tech workers, retirees, they've all traded concrete jungles for actual ones. What's most fascinating is how the entire community functions. There's a central hub with a shared kitchen, gardens, and even a community center. Residents gather for meals, yoga, or just to swap stories about the wildlife encounters they've had that day. The rules are simple. Respect the land, the people, and the trees. In a world where modern living often means more concrete, more screens, and more speed, Finca Bella Vista offers something radically different. Elevation, both physically and spiritually. Living here forces you to slow down, unplug, and reconnect with something primal, something we often forget in the rush of city life. And yes, it's real. You can visit. You can even buy a lot and build your own treetop sanctuary. But it's not for the faint of heart. You have to be ready to face the rain, the insects, the mud, and the wild unpredictability of jungle life. Yet for those who dare, the reward is beyond description. It's not just about living in a tree, it's about rising above the noise, both literally and metaphorically. It's about seeing the world from a higher perspective, one where nature leads and we follow. Tree houses aren't just for kids anymore. In Costa Rica, they're the future. What if the ocean was your backyard, your foundation, and your only neighbor? Imagine living not on land, but floating on water, with no roads, no fences, and no concrete beneath your feet. Sounds impossible? Think again. Because off the coast of Canada, one couple has built a completely self-sufficient floating home, and it's unlike anything you've ever seen. This is Freedom Cove, a hand-built, pastel-colored floating paradise nestled in a quiet cove near Tofino, British Columbia. It's not a houseboat, it's not a cabin on stilts, it's a floating island, and it's not owned by some millionaire investor. It was built by two artists, Wayne Adams and Catherine King, who wanted to live closer to nature, but ended up building a masterpiece from scratch. The story starts in 1992, when the couple began constructing their dream using driftwood, recycled materials, and anything they could haul through the wilderness. Today, their floating home spans over 12 interconnected platforms, complete with greenhouses, art studios, living quarters, a dance floor, solar panels, and even a floating lighthouse. The entire structure is tethered to the shore, but everything else? It floats. And here's the most amazing part. It's entirely off-grid. Solar panels provide electricity. Rainwater is collected and filtered. Food is grown in gardens built right into the floating decks. Fresh fish is just a few feet away. Every system is handmade, carefully maintained, and designed to support life without relying on modern infrastructure. Life at Freedom Cove is peaceful, but never boring. Every sunrise brings with it a new rhythm of tides, wildlife, and weather. Sea otters float by. Eagles soar overhead. Storms roll in without warning, rocking the entire structure. And yet, through it all, the house stands strong because it's not built on land, but with love, creativity, and resilience. The interiors are just as stunning. Walls are painted in vibrant hues of teal, lavender, and seafoam green. Artwork lines every wall. Plants fill every corner. Even the floors have been painted to reflect the natural world outside. It's a living gallery where nature and art flow together with the tide. For over 3 decades, Wayne and Catherine have lived here year-round, through freezing winters and wild summers. They've welcomed visitors, inspired documentaries, and remained committed to their unique vision of freedom. Freedom from bills, from crowds, from the chaos of modern life. But this kind of life isn't easy. Every nail, every pipe, every plank needs maintenance. The ocean is both their friend and greatest challenge. When storms hit, they have to defend their home with ropes and determination. Supplies must be hauled in by boat. There's no grocery store down the street, just nature, beauty, and isolation. And yeah, despite the challenges, this floating home has become a symbol of what's possible when you follow your dreams with relentless passion. It shows us that architecture doesn't have to be about steel and glass towers. It can be handmade, harmonious, and deeply human. Freedom Cove is more than just a home. It's a floating testament to sustainability, imagination, and the quiet power of choosing a different path. It's proof that with patience, creativity, and heart, you can build your own world even if it's drifting on the sea. What if your home wasn't just off the grid but off the planet? No, this isn't science fiction. There's a man in Japan who built a home so futuristic, so alien in design, that many people refer to it as the spaceship house. But the real twist, it's not in the future. It's real, and it's very much grounded right in the middle of Tokyo. Welcome to the Nakagin Capsule Tower, one of the most bizarre and groundbreaking residential concepts ever built. Imagine living inside a tiny metal pod, bolted to a giant central core, like an apartment complex built out of space capsules. It looks like something from a dystopian movie, but for decades people actually lived here. Designed in 1972 by the visionary architect Kisho Kurokawa, the Capsule Tower was a bold experiment in modular living. It was built on the principles of metabolism, a Japanese architectural movement that imagined cities as living, evolving organisms. Each capsule was a self-contained apartment just big enough for one person, with a bed, a desk, a bathroom, and a tiny porthole window. The idea was that these capsules could be removed, replaced, or reconfigured over time like building blocks. And while the concept sounds cold and mechanical, it was actually rooted in something deeply human: adaptability. Kurokawa envisioned a future where people could live in fast-paced cities but still have personal, customizable spaces. It was meant to be affordable, efficient, and flexible, perfect for the rising class of single professionals in Tokyo's booming economy. The pods themselves were about the size of a compact car, but they were ingeniously designed. Storage was built into the walls. There was a compact bathroom, a fold-out desk, even a built-in reel-to-reel tape recorder and tiny TV, all futuristic features in the 70s. And that circular window? It gave every pod a strange, space station vibe that made it both claustrophobic and fascinating. At its peak, over 140 capsules were occupied by artists, architects, business people, and adventurers who wanted to experience a different kind of urban life. Some used them as offices, others as full-time homes. It became a symbol of bold design and forward thinking, but over time, the future faded. As the decades passed, maintenance lagged. The capsules were never swapped out as planned. Pipes corroded. Mold crept in. Some residents left. Others stayed, committed to preserving the dream. But Tokyo moved on. The tower became more of a curiosity than a community until finally, in 2022, the government decided to dismantle it. But the story doesn't end there. Instead of being demolished and forgotten, many of the original capsules were salvaged. They were cleaned, restored, and sent to museums and exhibitions across the world. Some are now being repurposed into tiny guest houses, pop-up hotels, and design installations. Even in death, the Nakagan Capsule Tower is still evolving just as its creator intended. More than just a strange place to live, this spaceship-like building challenged the way we think about housing, space, and the future. It asked a radical question. Do we really need more room, more stuff, more clutter? Or can we live smaller, smarter, and with more intention? Living in a capsule isn't for everyone, but for a moment in time, it was the future. And even now, its influence can be seen in micro-apartments, modular homes, and the growing movement toward minimalism and sustainability. So, while the tower may be gone, its legacy lives on in every home that dares to be different, and every person who chooses design over tradition. After all, the future of living isn't always about building bigger. Sometimes, it's about thinking smaller and stranger. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed exploring Prague as much as I enjoyed guiding you through it. If you found this travel guide helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more beautiful destinations from around the world. Got a favorite spot in Prague? Drop it in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, safe travels, and see you in the next video.